World economic news between Christmas and New Year, end of 2010. See you next year, sort of. First chart, Y2K up to the present day, Y2K up to the present day, and it's the Dow Jones. And he's put it up, it's a Kimball chart, and it's quite interesting to look at it. 11 years ago, when people were worrying about Y2K and computers crashing or whatever it was all about, the Dow was about 11,700, and today it's at about 11,700. And if you follow the chart, it's been up and down, but generally, except for 2007 and a bit of 2008, it's been actually lower than that 11,700. So what's it going to do next? We'll see next year when we see. Consumer Metrics Institute, the daily growth index thing, which is meant to project into the future. It was looking very, very double dippy until about 2 months ago when it started turning up again. Well, its little turning up has started turning down again, and it's still very low. So I wouldn't be betting the house on next year being an absolute blinder. It's going to be there at best, one would think. Bloomberg Business Week. Out of Lehman's ashes, Wall Street gets most of what it wants. There's a shock. Wall Street's biggest banks, whose missteps caused a global financial crisis and economic slowdown 2 years ago, were more agile when it came to countering the political and regulatory response. In other words, they looked as though they did wrong things, bad things, to get everybody into this crisis. But after the crisis, they were really on form to get government and regulators to lay off them. The last 2 years, this is from that article, which is quite hard-hitting for Bloomberg. The last 2 years have been the best ever for combined investment and banking trading revenue at Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. Best ever, doing well, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. It goes on, army of lobbyists. Wall Street's army of lobbyists and its history of contributions to politicians weren't the only keys to success. Lawmakers, academics, and industry executives said the financial system's complexity gave bankers an advantage in controlling the narrative and dismissing the ideas of would-be reformers as infeasible or dangerous. And a revolving door between government and banking offices contributed to a mindset that was good for that what's good for Wall Street is good for Main Street. I mean, really, where is the mindset that believes that what is good for Wall Street is good for Main Street? Where is that mindset? A very small mindset in New York and Washington. Moving on, the Case-Shiller Home Price Index year on year. Below is the year-over-year change by city through October, which appears to show that we are entering another leg down in a large portion of the nation's housing markets. This is actually good news because prices have to come down, but it won't be good news in the minds of people that have to pay mortgages on houses that are worth less than the mortgage is. Case-Shiller Home Price Index, there have been rises, positive rises in Washington, Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco. Those last three, the Californian ones, obviously because they were coming out of their year on year, and last year was so very bad, the only way is up, but it's only up 4% and will go down again. But otherwise, Boston, New York, Denver, Cleveland, Minneapolis, Dallas, and Miami going down about 4%. Las Vegas, Tampa, Seattle, Charlotte, and Phoenix down 4 to 6%. Portland, Detroit, Atlanta, and Chicago down 6%-ish and going down further, maybe to nothing. Syracuse.com. Public pension costs cause sticker shock for central New York municipalities. The munis are taking it bad, the counties are taking it bad. Canastota, New York. When Todd Rouse became mayor of Canastota in 2001, the village paid $14,000-ish into the state retirement fund for all its employees. This year the bill is $131,000. 2001 it was $14,000. This year it's $131,000, and it's projected to rise to about 184,000 in 2012. Unsustainable, overused word, but it seems to apply. And later in this, it's an interesting enough article. In fact, it's a very well written, very interesting article. They tried to be balanced, which is strange. The report says that a private sector employee would need to save $860,000 by retirement to earn the same annual income as the median annual New York teacher pension of $47,000. And the median retirement age of those teachers is 59. Remember that, they'd have to save $860,000. That does not include the cost of retiree health insurance that most teachers receive in retirement. The report notes public employee unions say that a move towards something akin to a 401k plan, known as a defined contribution rather than the defined benefit plan now in place, would be disastrous. The people who are saying we need to go to defined contribution systems or system are the same people who caused the Wall Street meltdown, and you saw what happened to people's 401ks then, said somebody who is spokesman for the Civil Service Employees Association. There's a huge fight going on and will have to go on, and there's going to be no winners from it. Right, this is from 360, I call it mybudget360.com. Snipped out of the article. Over 84% of 18 to 29-year-olds surveyed feel that they need at least $1 million saved up in order to stop working someday. So the young people 18 to 29 figure they need about $1 million. And we saw what the teacher's pension was. For 47,000 you needed to save up 860,000 to have the equivalent. So the young ones are right. 60% of the 30 or older feel that they will also need $1 million saved up. Yet the actual figures are somewhat disturbing in contrast to the perceptions of many. And these aren't saying that they're wrong, they're right. You do need about $1 million to retire. The average retirement amount is 50,000, 49,944, but that's the average retirement amount, 50,000. And that's kind of because you've got all the poor people up through the middle class just coming off the bottom, and then the rich people have got huge quantities of money, which is in stocks and shares, that sort of stuff, which counts for retirement savings. So the average of all that put together in a pot, squeezed down and cut in half, is 50,000. But the median retirement amount, in other words, you take it right across and you've got the huge one for the rich people, if you cut that in the middle, the average, the median retirement amount is 2,000. So the median retirement amount for most all Americans, basically, who need about $1 million, have got 2,000. They've only got hundreds of thousands to go. No, they're not going to get there, are they? Something is going dreadfully, dreadfully wrong. Telegraph, moving out of America, Australian floods send coal prices soaring. The wettest Australian summer since records began has resulted in the price of coal rising as fast as the stock of the English cricket team. Cricket? Moving on very quickly. Staying with the Telegraph, Britain forms plan for Gulf evacuation in event of war with Iran. This is an overdone title because these plans were done back in the summer. The British Armed Forces are drawing up contingency plans to evacuate hundreds of thousands of British residents and tourists from Dubai and other Gulf cities in the event of war with Iran. Again, an overdone subtitle. It finishes the article with, but as Iran refuses to dismantle its nuclear program, the potential for disaster is not being discounted. It's a huge number of people who are affected here, the source said. There are over 100,000 Brits who live here. That's over in Dubai and Emirates in general. 1 million Brits who visit every year. Their safety is a matter of particular concern. And of course it is. But it started with, but as Iran refuses to dismantle its nuclear program. Why the bloody hell should it? I've never understood that at all. As long as they understand it. Anyway, Bon weekend, and for world economy and stuff, I'll see you next year. Bye.